Hey, and we're live. Alrighty, it's another wonderful Wednesday. I was like, what day is it? Um, just had St. Patrick's Day, Awesome Con this past weekend. It was very awesome. Lots of people, lots of everything going on. Very busy weekend. We met a lot of new people, a lot of awesome faces at the Awesome Con. Um, if you're paying attention to the notifications and the updates on the Facebook page, we announced author A.G. Mock has decided to throw his hat back into the ring. So we're going to have A.G. Mock joining a whole bunch of awesome people. He's not going to be at any of the bookstores doing his little free agent type of thing where he's just going to be at his booth. So be sure to take a look at his booth when you get there. Um, Halfway to Halloween is coming up. We have Nancy Ann Ritter and Lenora Scelfo. Both were the bathroom bullies from Scream. They are absolutely fantastic. You never knew you needed to meet them, but it would be rude not to. And get two autographs for your DVD or VHS, even, because that's how old the movie is and how old we are. Um, so we got a lot of awesome stuff going on, a lot of great things. I was actually joined this past weekend on Sunday by our guest tonight, who came in and brought in a bunch of awesome books and stuck around for a few hours and made some new friends. So tonight we're going to be talking to Marissa D'Angelo. Let me see if it lets it flip over to her. There we go. Hey, Marissa.
Hi.
Yay. So we spent Sunday together for a little while, and you just showed up and dropped some books on the table and hope for the best.
Yeah, yeah, that was pretty fun, and I didn't know I was gonna be there till like a day before. So it
Yeah.
was it was fun.
Yeah, it was it's a lot of event. And it's weird because when you go to Fright Reads, I think the assumption is everybody there wants to read a book. So you're pitching books to everybody, and that's kind of the plan. But
Mhm.
when you get into somewhere like Awesome Con, it's a nerd free for all. Um,
Mhm.
got a couple of people saying hi. Got
Hi.
Amy.
Hey, Amy.
So we got a couple people in there saying hi. Yeah, but it's kind of a nerd free for all. But that's so bad for me, somebody that has murder books, and even
Mhm.
more murder and death and blood and gore and ghosts and monsters. But for somebody that has something that kind of lays right in the middle, you have supernatural elements, you have mystery elements, you even have children's books. Um, that feels like more of a good place for you. Did you sell any of the Rue Adventures? I think I saw some of them move.
Yeah, so some of the kids looked at it and then the parents were like, they don't need that. And then they got they got something for themselves. And I was like, are you sure? Because this is my last copy of this one. Like, I don't
Yeah,
want her to be upset. And then the parent was like, she'll forget about it in a few minutes. So I was like,
rude,
okay. I'm not
rude.
trying to push this on you, but yeah, no, it I think like a lot of the children there were interested in like the concert they had with Olaf, doing his he was like conducting with a wand thing.
What do you mean the kids? I think you were interested in the interpretive dance, Olaf.
Yes, I was.
We lost you for a good 5 minutes where you just stared in amazement because he's over there dancing, and we had a Elsa yelling "Let it go." It was an experience, that's for
Yeah.
sure. Got a bunch of people popping in to say hello.
Hi,
Um,
Nani.
so you have this great spread of books. Obviously, Medusa is kind of in its own category, but your Rue Mysteries, I guess adventures,
Brew
mysteries.
Adventures. Yeah, you got
Yeah, I
it.
was gonna say adventures, mysteries, shenanigans. Um, the stuff that Rue gets into. What is it like writing the Charles Island? I'm getting it right, right? It's Charles Island. Okay, I was like, I'm pretty sure it's Charles Island, and then I
Yeah.
doubted myself when I said it. I'm
Yes,
like,
you got
what
it.
if that's wrong? The Charles Island Mysteries. So you go from writing that, which is more of a grown-up environment. How do you go from that mentality to switching it right down to Rue and his little crab buddy going on these adventures?
Yeah, so I it was really hard because with adult books you want to be very descriptive. You don't have those pictures to show everything. But I I basically went through and wrote a whole lot, and then I had to condense it because I realized that it was in the picture. So, but it helped my mom, who's the illustrator, because she was looking at the text and everything and seeing, like, okay, this is what should be in the picture. And then once she created that, then I was able to condense the words based on the illustrations that were made. And I don't know if any other children's author does her books like that, because honestly, like, usually you submit your story done to an illustrator, and so
Yeah.
there won't be much like condensing after that. But yeah, that's kind of how I went from one point to another. But I also did that because I'm a teacher, and I know Brian's going to give me crap for saying that because I always mention it. But
As long as it's
at,
not on Flex,
I
Brian.
know, yeah, exactly. But because I'm a teacher, a lot of my students will like Google me and stuff, and I was like, oh my gosh, I need something for them too. And
Yeah.
at first, it was daunting because of the illustrations and the formatting and everything. But then after YouTubing it, I figured out how to do the formatting, and it's kind of like trial and error, honestly. You
Yeah.
just learn as you go.
Yeah. I mean, that's you can learn how to do everything on YouTube. You can
Hmm.
probably do open heart surgery on YouTube. Probably don't recommend it, but like if you're trying to figure out how to wire something, how to hook up a pipe, um,
Hmm.
build some kind of structure, or
Hmm.
format a children's book. I mean, it's there. The
Yeah.
information is there. You just have to put in the work and kind of know what to look for.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that's a whole different beast because a normal book it's a different size.
Mhm.
Children's books, especially the younger children's books, are usually that like shorter and wider format to account for words and these giant illustrations that are supposed to be captivating and pull them in. And you did that. You have
Mhm.
these great pieces of art per page where it's busy. It looks like something's going on, and then you have your
Yeah.
descriptive words below. Children's book format. Uh,
Mhm.
it's definitely a different world. Um,
Yeah.
I applaud you for taking that jump.
Thank
Um,
you.
so, what was the inspiration for Rue and these little adventures?
So, basically, Rue is, it stands for red, basically, because red-winged blackbirds, they have, it's really like an orange patch, honestly, if you look like at an actual realistic red-winged
Yeah,
blackbird. But they're named Red Wing, so I was thinking, what could be a good name for him. And then I found that when googling things, and it also is in relation to Algonquian and the Native Americans. So I
yeah,
wanted to tie that in too, because my first Charles Island book was based on a Native American tribe. And so the first Rue book was also Spirit of Rue, that was based on the Native American tribe as well. So I tied in that heritage and stuff like that. I worked with the Native American tribe, the Paugussets, who live on the coastline of Connecticut. Right now, their reservations located in Trumbull, and they do a lot of really awesome outreach activities. Like they do basically they do like in school field trips and stuff like that. So they're awesome and great to work with. But anyway, the inspiration for Rue was when I was going to Charles Island, and I walked down the little bridge that brings you there, because there's like a swamp area before you get to the sandbar. um
yeah,
and so I was walking down that bridge, and all the red-winged blackbirds would like fly around and stuff. And then there was this one that just landed right in front of me, turned its body, and looked at me. And I don't know, call me crazy, but I just thought that that was my cat, like, is going crazy down there, so I'm trying to ignore it. I just thought that that was like serendipity in a way, because
yeah,
Charles Island is a place that I've gone for sanctuary, and to kind of get away from a lot of difficult things that have happened in my life. And when I looked up the spiritual meaning behind red-winged blackbirds, I found that each red-winged blackbird has a different like patch in a different spot. So the Native Americans believe that if you see one that comes close to you, then it's your loved one watching over you.
hmm,
um, And so that was just, it hit home, and I actually have 5 tattoos on my rib cage of red-winged blackbirds because they resemble my 5 family members that had passed away within the past few years. So
Yeah.
so yeah, so that's where Rue comes, and he is just, my mom did the illustrations of him and everything, and then I worked to add the color in. It was really a lot of teamwork. So so yeah.
That's all. That's awesome that it's so you had your, I call it the grown up book research, and then that kind of bled into a lot of the, I'm going to say lore. It is for a children's book. You're getting into, you don't touch on it, but all of it's there. If somebody wants
Mhm.
to go down into that research rabbit hole, why is it a red-winged blackbird, and what does this mean, and what does that mean? I think that's really cool. That it's so much more of a deeper meaning than you just said. I like
Mhm.
that bird. That's the
Yeah.
bird I'm thinking.
It's
Uh,
pretty. Yeah.
that bird's pretty. I'm going to write about him.
Yep.
um yeah, it's cool to have like that deeper meaning. And then you started talking about how you were working with the native tribes. uh
Mhm.
that's amazing, because the level of research to make sure that, especially for the spirits books, whether it's kids or grown up, um you're getting into like a lot of their beliefs, and you're touching on very, I'm going to say sensitive topics, but very important things that you made sure you got right. And that's super cool. uh
Yeah.
yeah, I can't imagine like the level of research. Like there's a lot that has to go into things. And that's awesome. And it almost feels like each of your grown up Charles Island books, Rue is doing similar adventures.
Yeah, so they're mirrored, and that was my plan all along. Well, once I started do children's books, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna mirror each story and make them more child friendly. And so, like I said, the spirit of Rue, that will come from um the cursed spirit.
Yeah,
And then the next one, the cursed vessel, that adult book, which I have right here actually, the Cursed Vessel adult story mirrors to Rue's pirate adventure. So it's based on Captain Kidd. And
yeah,
then the Haunted Inn, Rue's Haunted Inn, comes from the Cursed Inn. And then this one is actually standalone. So this one,
yeah,
Rue's Journey Home, this is something that I did for my school. So that I
yeah.
work
Well,
for.
so it's funny that you have that one, because somebody said he's an Oriole bird, and I was like, if it sells the book. But yeah, it's kind of funny that just some of the design work in it. It's great because you literally hit every single Maryland thing. There's very clearly on the front cover is the Bay Bridge.
Yep.
One of Rue's buddies is a crab,
Yep.
just a little crab. There's a lot of fun stuff in there. So I like that it's standalone. But
And he's even and my mom had this idea, but uh let's see if I can find the picture of it. Yeah. So Kevin the crab is holding this right here.
he's holding his Old Bay and a hot dog.
Yep, and it's called Krabby Kevin seasoning. So and the and the hot dog is there too. I placed it there like for a reason because and it has a sad face because
Well, yeah,
my mom got food poisoning from trying to feed like old hot dogs to crabs and trying to use it as bait, old hot dogs. And so I was
yeah.
like, that's an old hot dog right there. So I stuck it to her in that sense. It was fun.
Well, I guess it's better than feeding them the corn.
Yes, yes, exactly. That would be the next one.
The corn?
Yeah.
Oh man, what a story. So I bring it up to anybody that's actually in the book. So I wrote Nightmares Unbound. And I think people have heard this at least one or two times so far with some of the people, I think with Dan and with Brian. But Nightmares Unbound, I wrote all of my real author and artist friends. I wrote you guys in, and I wrote a lot of real life moments, a lot of real situations. Have you had a chance to thumb through that yet?
Not yet, but I am excited to because I know I already have a feeling that I know what my part is.
Yeah,
Based on like if it was the corn situation at the restaurant, and based on how I think I ordered either chocolate milk or hot cocoa and they didn't have it.
No, I think you
No?
tried to order hot chocolate, and then
Okay.
they said, "Oh, we don't do that." And you said, "Fine, get chocolate milk and microwave it." And that's the same thing.
Yeah. Yep. Sounds like me.
And and I think that's pretty much what went into the book. I just think
Mhm.
it was a lot of fun to just write in these little inside jokes. I wrote in the cacaw. Um, I just wrote in all this fun stuff. And I think it's also fun to have you do like something that's so thoroughly over the top
Mhm.
when everything gets crazy in the convention. So if anybody is interested to see what I think Marissa could have done in a very crazy situation where a Comic Con tries to kill all of us, um, I think it's kind of fun. Um, Brian approved, so that was all that mattered. Brian was like, I think everybody's good. I think everybody in our circle is perfect. So I had a lot of fun doing that. So is that your first time being portrayed in a book?
Um, so I would say yeah, portrayed in a book by somebody else, yes.
Yeah,
But even my mother noticed that in a lot of my books, even the adult books, I portray like myself and certain events,
sure.
and like just certain things people say, like based off of my family or me. So I was like, yeah, that is true. So
Yeah, first time it's specifically you.
yeah, that's true.
So,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
but who doesn't write themselves into all their books? So you write family and friends as different characters.
Mm-hmm.
Um, didn't you tell a story about how there was some photographer situation,
Yeah. Yeah,
like
so
when you
that's
were
what
visiting?
started that's what started everything. When my dad passed away 6 years ago, I don't know. I was like not uh I couldn't kind of live. It was hard to live. It was
Yeah,
very hard to function, and I was just functioning on, I guess, pure adrenaline because I was doing it was COVID, so I was doing like virtual teaching at that time and stuff. So I was like just trying to be there for my kids, and that was the main
yeah,
reason to get out of bed. And so I was going to Silver Sands because I would try to get out of the house after packing things up and stuff, and I would just go there to just sit down and I would write letters to my dad, and I still have a whole bunch of them. And so there was this like old man who was so cute. He was dressed like Urkel, and he had like suspenders. He had his pants up real high. And he comes over to me and he's like, "So what are you writing?" And I was like, "Nothing. Like, I'm not going to tell this guy, this happy jolly guy, like I'm writing a letter to my father that just died, like because like I
yeah,
it's
yeah,
just a weird thing to share with a stranger, and just don't want to bring anyone's mood down. And so then he was like, "You should write about the island." And I was like, "That right there, what is there to write about?" Like
yeah,
I was just looking at a few trees on an island and it didn't seem very special. And so then he actually had a camera, like a Canon camera, around his neck hanging down, and he started to tell me about how some of the images that he took, some of the pictures, when he looked back at them, they had like a ghost, a lady in white, which is referred to in the nonfiction book by Michael Dooling. So if anyone's like interested in like the
yeah,
actual, it's called An Historical Account of Charles Island, in Milford, Connecticut history. And so Michael Dooling does have that image in that book of the lady in white, and she's literally has a white dress on, like she's gonna get married. And my mom thinks the guy was an angel. But anyway, um, so I didn't believe a word he said, and I thought he was a crazy man.
yeah.
And so,
That's
so
fair.
I think I called my mom or somebody, and I was like, just listen, and if I get attacked, this is where I am. And so then I put the phone beside me and I was like, uh-huh, okay, yeah, yep, okay. And so anyway, then I left, and I was going so fast, and I was talking to my mom, I think, and I was like, "Mom, I made it out, but I don't know if he's following me." And I was like, I'm looking behind me, and I don't know why I was scared of this jolly man that was like 90 years old. Because like but anyway, so I left, and then when I went back every single time, I never found him again. And that's why my family thinks maybe he was an angel or something like
Huh.
that, maybe, or I'm crazy and there was no one there. and I was just talking to a ghost. So, but yeah.
Yeah. And did you write him into any of the books?
Yes, so he was my first book, first published book, and that was Presence, and that's based on a photographer much younger than himself, so in his 20s, named Adam, because I didn't really know the photographer's name. Um, and so Adam, he's left with a camera from his father after his father passes away, and he has to go to the island. He's just drawn there for some reason, and he's finishing his father's work, and he finds out the secrets of the island and the paranormal and the ghosts and stuff. So yeah.
Cool. Well, hopefully he knows that he's famous with
Yeah.
his Urkel suspenders and pants pulled up
Yeah.
to his armpit.
Mhm.
That's, I mean, that's interesting though, because
Mhm.
I mean, most of the time authors will pull inspiration from just about anything that's around them. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously the corn, um, things that happen to us, but not often do you get such an impactful experience that it shifts your entire trajectory in life where you now have to write books and
Yeah.
you go down the rabbit hole of look at how much meaning is in just, and it's just the island. You didn't
Mhm.
really go off of the island. There are so many stories that are affiliated with that area alone
Yeah.
that it, I mean, not to agree with your mom, but I think there was something there. Like,
Yeah,
or
and
maybe just the right man at the right time.
yeah, exactly. And then it was weird because that kind of like went through my head and then it was gone. And it was like, I'm not going to actually write anything about this. And then I went there because I was there all the time. I went there alone and I wanted to be alone and I wanted to just look out at the water and hear the waves crashing. And that was a bit of my therapy. And
Yeah.
so I was sitting by there, and a few weeks later, there was a priest that walked up to me, and like he was dressed like a priest, and so that's how I knew. And he was like, "Hey, what are you writing?" And I don't know why so many people are taking an interest in what I'm like. I just want to be alone, but it's
Yeah.
fine. So I guess I looked interesting to them, but he was telling me, "Did you know that there's spirits on the island?" And I was like, "Okay, is someone paying these people at this point? Like, what is
There's a guy
happening?"
waiting off by the main road. He's
Yeah,
like,
I
all
know. Like,
right,
am
got
I
her
being
again.
punked? Like, is Ashton Kutcher making a comeback? um, but yeah, so then I was like, "Oh, you don't say," because like, yes, he's a priest, but like if someone's randomly coming up to me like and talking to me about spirits, I'm going to think that they're a little bit cuckoo. And so
Oh yeah,
so yeah, so then he was like, "Well, a lot of people focus on the bad spirits, but there's good spirits too. And if somebody dies, they haven't even been able to prove it wrong with science. They are always here because matter isn't created nor destroyed."
yeah,
And so I was like, this guy doesn't even know that my dad just died and he's talking to me about this stuff. And so I ended up telling that man that, oh, I met a photographer that was taking pictures and he found some suspicious things in his photos, like ghost kind of things and whatnot, that weren't there when he was looking out, but it was there when after he took the photo, it was
yeah.
there in the photo. But yeah, so
That's awesome. I mean,
yeah.
if I could just get those kind of stories out of anywhere that I go, um, I visit tons of places, and well, I get little snippets of people, but I don't get anything that's just going to inspire an entire book series.
Yeah.
So when you got into Medusa, is that just you're just trying to shift gears and try something different?
So I studied abroad in Rome, and I think, let's see, it was 11 years ago now. And when I was over there, we actually studied Greek mythology because that was like the original mythology before
Yeah,
Roman people just stole it and changed the names. Because that's what happened. But anyway, so we studied that, and it was very interesting to me. And then I wrote The Vanished, which was actually my first Greek mythology book, but it's a detective story, and it's based on Thanatos and Hypnos, who are the gods of death and sleep. Anyway, I wanted to go back to that again because I really liked dabbling with the Greek mythology in modern day because that's when I set it to take place.
sure.
And then I went to Medusa because I was thinking like, I want to choose somebody that's portrayed as evil, and I want to try to like flip it and flip the perspective so that people are like, "Oh, that's the why she is the way she is." Or, she couldn't help that she had snakes for hair. That's how she was born. Which is in some of the myths of the Medusa because
Yeah,
there's a
okay,
few
some
different
iterations.
versions.
Other when she
Yeah.
became cursed because of
Yeah.
of everything that transpired. Uh,
Mhm.
I think she tried to kill somebody or curse the gods or whatever,
Yeah.
whatever story you want to go with, and then
Mhm.
she got snakes for hair. So yeah,
Yeah.
you went with Born with Hair of
Yeah, I
Snakes.
went with
Okay.
Born that way, and then her parents just so happened to be blind. Like not her real parents,
How
but adoptive.
convenient.
Yeah, I know, right? And so so she wears like a hair wrap though that hide them. So she's always wearing that hair wrap. And and then like there's it kind of mirrors Carrie.
Okay.
Because I love well, I didn't love this scene because I'm gonna seem like a psychopath, but there was
Yeah.
this scene with the pig's blood that was poured down on Carrie. And so that doesn't happen in my book, but in a similar way, Medusa goes to a school dance and so the cool athlete guys and stuff, the cool jocks, they come over and they think it's funny to rip her hair wrap off, and then she turns everyone to stone.
Mm.
So I used to say when the book first came out, I used to say everyone got stoned, but now I know to say she turned everyone to stone because it's a lot different.
But it's so much more fun the other way around. They all
I
went to
know, I
prom and
know.
got stoned.
I know that'd be a much different story though.
But it's good because you can play with that wording too. It's like
Yeah.
you're like, wait, she turned everybody into rock. Oh,
Yep.
everybody
Yep.
got stoned.
Yeah, that's what I say at my like at the events I do.
Yeah.
Sometimes when people look at Medusa, I'll be like, everyone gets stoned in this book. And then they'll look at me like, what?
Wow. And what, do you not know Medusa? Have you never seen anything? Literally,
Hmm.
like how many movies and TV shows have we used this?
Yeah.
There you go. There's a good comment. Everybody must get stoned.
Yep. That's what happens.
Um, but yeah, I thought it was kind of unique because it's definitely it's not drastically different, but it is something
Hmm.
that's not in your on your island, I guess.
Yeah.
It's something that is more of a passion project of something that you like and you got to
Hmm.
write about and do. Are you gonna do any more of the like I guess mythology retellings?
Yeah, so I'm working on Hades and Persephone right now, and
Ooh,
this is the second book that I've ever done that's a dual perspective book.
okay.
So the Cursed Spirit Part 2, that one is multi-perspective. With each chapter, I switch to there's between two girls, I switch to each perspective. And then with this book, I'm switching between Persephone and Hades' perspective, and I'm just going back and forth. And you know what? I really like it because if you've got a scene, you can show that one scene you've created in two different ways, and it kind of lengthens your book. And it's actually easy to write in that way, and you learn more about the characters throughout. So.
That's cool. I mean, I've co-wrote books with people that we get to play with two characters and two perspectives. So it
Hmm.
would have probably been easier to do it all myself.
Yeah.
But that's kind of interesting, especially with touching on. I mean, not to say it's been done a bunch of times in different ways, but we can't get enough of the stories. There's a
Hmm.
reason why we keep doing, Hades stories, Persephone stories, Olympian stories in general. Like we keep doing this. Disney keeps cranking things out. We keep getting the I'm drawing a blank.
Is it the Percy
Um,
Jackson?
yeah, Percy Jackson.
Yeah.
There you go. I was like, I'm drawing a blank right now. But the Percy Jackson series is,
Yeah.
I like it. It's not
Mm,
even for my demographic, but it's good
yeah.
because it's the what ifs of, you have to give up on, what you know and love about the lore, but keep that in mind because they're going to play with all of that. Uh,
Hmm.
and they do a really good job of it. I think it's definitely got that YA teen drama just just poured over top of it. But
Yes.
in the deep reaches, they do a really good job. Just showing you like occasionally the gods will help,
Hmm.
occasionally the gods will actually start to listen. And I'm like, that's That's 100% like all the lore. It's like something happens. The gods were listening. Nothing
Mm-hmm.
happened. The gods hate us. What did we do wrong? And
Yes.
that was 100% how they treated things. We weren't in the temple. We didn't have enough temples. We had too
Mm-hmm.
many temples, not enough temples. We didn't have enough candles in the temple.
Mm-hmm.
It's that mentality, and I love that they kind of make it kind of silly with the Percy Jackson series. They get to
Yeah.
have fun with how absolutely stupid that belief was.
Yeah.
But let's see, we got a question in here. Let's see. Would you say you're more open minded about ghosts since you've explored them in your novels? So
Um,
you like the supernatural and ghosts a little more, or are you still like, eh?
I'm I'm like very much in denial, but like it just like weird things have happened to me that are unexplained. Like when I was in my bedroom going through my things and boxing everything up, um something in my room had started on its own. And so basically a quick backstory is when I was little, every night my father would wind a Nightmare Before Christmas snow globe, and then he'd kiss me on the forehead and he'd say goodnight. And so when I was sitting on the ground, there was no I wasn't touching
Yeah.
anything on the shelves or whatever. That snow globe, that same one, just started playing. And it was just really weird. And even like with my grandmother, it's mainly around death that I
Yeah.
seem the closest to a ghost like happening. But even with my grandmother, there was a butterfly that landed right on her urn, and the urn that I got her was a butterfly urn that was purple. So it was just like, strange.
And it's weird because you're kind of the same as me, where it's like, I don't think there are ghosts, but um,
Hmm.
I don't know if I've told you the story about the Lord Baltimore Hotel.
I don't think so.
So I think I've told this story when I was on with Brian one of the times because we were
Hmm.
exchanging ghost stories. But for anybody that's tuning in that hasn't heard it, um, so I went to the Baltimore Comic Con, and then we had a ghost hunt at the Lord Baltimore Hotel. But I was there as the Ghostbusters, and a ghost hunting organization wanted us to come be their arm candy. They just wanted us to look the part. We, weren't doing anything. So we're kind of exploring. We heard some cool stories. Absolutely check out the Lord Baltimore. And I'm trying to get Brian to go there for one of his future books. I'm like, you got to do it. But there were so many crazy stories. And we finally wrap up everything and we get up to the ballroom and they're doing one final seance. They're trying to speak with the spirits and use a spirit box and all that good stuff. And me and my buddy Steve are sitting in the corner, kind of messing around with something that he has. And we recently, at the time, this has been several years now, but recently lost our friend David. Um, I think I think both me and Brian shared that there's a David that's the reason that we started writing. Um, but we recently lost David, and that was probably 2-3 months before. Like it wasn't even that long of a time, and we were over there messing around, and we just kind of jokingly said like, "Hey, David always said he'd haunt this place if he ever died," and we're like, "Yeah, okay, all right." Well, I said, "Well, let's try to conjure him up here," and we said, "Well, if David's here, give us a sign." And what the app was it would pull up keywords. The first word that came up was London, and that would be kind of random, except he was British. So I was like, "Ooh, okay, that's weird." And then it went further from that. The medium conducting the séance said that she had sensed a spirit and picked out of the air exactly how David died. Exactly how. And I was like, all right, I'm getting the rest of the group. I can't do this by myself. And
Wow.
then one of our guys at the end of the experience, like we had all left like 1:30 in the morning or something. We're like, that's it. I got nothing. I'm going to bed. We all went back to our homes and we got a text message. And Ross, who had stayed behind with his two sons, who were just absolutely over the moon over this ghost hunt, um, they talked to the other psychic who could visualize the spirits. The other lady could feel them and feel their emotions and stuff. Like, I don't know. I don't know the differences, but there's like an empath and all this, all these different like subcategories. And the other lady could visualize them. And she kept saying to Ross that there was a spirit that was leaning over the balcony in the ballroom anytime but a few of us would get together, and he was just watching us intently. And he goes, "Oh wow, like what did he look like?" And he's like, "Well, he was a well-dressed man. He seemed kind of like a newer spirit. He seemed young." And Ross, for whatever reason, pulls out his phone, goes to Facebook, goes to David's profile where he's dressed up as Doctor Who, and shows the picture. And that lady, to quote, looked like she saw a ghost.
Oh my gosh.
And it's like, well, first thing we all said was, oh, so he can dress up as Doctor Who, but he can't dress up as a Ghostbuster? And we were like, wait, no, that's probably, you don't make any good friends in the afterlife dressed as a Ghostbuster, probably. So probably
True.
good business move.
That's
Um,
true.
but what a weird experience. But I
Mm-hmm.
didn't actually experience or witness or see anything. The only thing I did was against Steve's wishes, I wandered off by myself looking for a ghost. You don't do that. You're not supposed to while you're actively engaging and, I guess poking the spirits. You
Mm-hmm.
don't want to wander off alone. So I wandered off alone. I was like, whatever, dude. And I went down a hallway into like a big warehouse looking laundry room. It was quiet. I just heard the hum of machines. And I'm just kind of walking along, minding my own business until I think the giant dryer slammed shut. And I screamed, the cleaning lady screamed, the ghost screamed. We were all just like, ah! But I didn't really have an experience. But
Mm-hmm.
there's always something weird. So a music box that starts to play specifically, it could have been anything that started to go off in the room or fell off of a shelf, but it
Yeah.
has to be that one. It's always that one item, and
Mm-hmm.
that's, you can't discount what happened, but you didn't see something specific.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. I mean, and I still to this day I'm skeptical, but there's those like question marks of things that have happened that kind of spooky haunted laundry.
ooh, spooky laundry.
Another
Yeah,
book with the corn.
but you don't know. That's the thing, is you didn't get a concrete answer, so it's still this weird, like, what if?
Hmm.
What if there is somebody trying and they can get enough energy to make it play "This Is Halloween" on a music box for like an eighth of a second? You just
Yeah.
get enough like ding, 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 and that's it. And it's just enough to
Yeah.
kind of scare you because you're like, where's this noise?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's weird. Um, yeah, I think that was my only major experience. Um, Seeing some of the comments in there about some of the experiences. Yeah, definitely scents, like you'll smell people. It's weird, and it's like there's a specific scent and you don't know if it's your mind
Hmm.
or if there is something more than that, because
Yeah.
it's just something that you want, that comfort.
Hmm.
You want that smell, that, the music to play. You want things to be so badly. um
Yeah.
and that's why I try to, like, I don't, have you ever seen the TV show BuzzFeed Unsolved?
No, I haven't.
It's absolutely hilarious. So it's these two guys, and they go on these ghost hunting experiences. One of them is actually to where Brian wrote his other book, the Penitentiary. So they go to all these different locations and they stay the night. They have a very minimal crew because budget. But one of them is terrified of everything, and the other one just does not care. And I am more like the guy that's just like, come on, ghosts. Like, he'll sit there, like he went into like the darkest part of like the penitentiary, the one that Brian won't go by himself ever again. He just sits in there and he's like, what's up, ghosts? It's your boy Shane. How you doing? If y'all are here, just let me know. Otherwise, I'm just gonna hang out for my 5 minutes. And like, he's just so casual about it, and that's how I feel. I'm just
Hmm.
like, until I see something, like even in a pitch dark room, I'm not seeing anything, then your mind starts to hear what it wants to hear and think what it wants to think.
Mhm.
But I didn't see a ghost.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. And I kind of like that. And those guys are hilarious because the other guy would be almost pooping his pants in fear. And my favorite episode is they go to the Goatman Bridge, I think in New Jersey. And the one guy's like, "Oh, we don't mess with this bridge," and the other guy goes skipping across it and starts tap dancing, and he's like, "Look at me, goat man, I'm on your bridge. Do something." And then he like taunts the goat man, and you're waiting for like a spirit to just come up over the bridge and just throw him off into the water or something, but nothing happens as expected.
Yeah.
And then he starts mocking the goat man, and he's like, "Well, there, goat man, you're nothing. You know what? No, he's like, I now own this bridge. This is Shane's bridge. The kids will graffiti my name on the walls and they'll tell tales of me now." And it's like all this stuff that's mocking and it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the other guy's like scared out of his mind. Um, but I love that, and that's the dynamic that I wish I could actually experience something that makes me completely do a 180. But
Mhm.
you get the stuff that's like maybe could
Mhm.
be you want it to be. It would be really neat if. Um, but yeah. Um, so fright reads. You're
Yeah.
we're doing fright reads halfway to Halloween coming up here.
I know. I'm looking forward to a Mother's Day weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be that Saturday. So bring mom out the day before Mother's Day, and cheap tickets. It's a fun event. She can meet some cool people. She can pick up too many books. It'll be a great day. Um,
Mhm.
this will be. Have you done all of them? Because I
I
know Brian
think
missed one. I know Brian missed one of them
I
because of.
missed the first or second because I remember you had one in a different location before Benfield, right? You had it
No,
at
this was halfway to Halloween, the one at the mall.
oh, the
I've
halfway.
only
Yeah,
had
I've
this one
been
at
to
the mall.
halfway. Yeah, I've been to all the
Yeah, I think you've
halfways.
been to all of them because
Mhm.
you were up there with your buddy Howard.
Yeah.
I love Howard. He has no idea what he's doing, but he's having a good time, and that's all.
He's
That's what
great.
I love.
Yeah. Yeah,
He's
he
up there
just
like, "What
told
do you mean I
me
got to take credit cards?"
I know, and he just told me he has a Challenger car, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah, but what a 1950s Challenger or
No, a
something, one
2017.
with electronic
Yeah,
devices and
everything works. Yeah,
digital.
everything works. Yeah. I was
I've seen Howard operate. I don't know that he should have a car that has
like,
digital stuff. But I love the guy to death, and he's been one of your booth buddies.
hmm
He's a lot of fun, but I've seen so many people come up to your guys' area and just crowd around it.
Yeah.
And last year you were right across from the haunted house.
Yeah.
Harris had built a whole house.
That was fun. Yeah. And honestly, like I think when people stop and then they go on and they come back, they usually buy a book.
Yeah,
So and it is nice being at like the tail end of what when people are walking out, they will usually stop. But I'm really looking forward to it. It's actually one of my favorite events out of the whole year. Because I could also dress up because you have the costume things too, costume
yeah.
competition. So
Well, that's the one in the fall. So you can
yeah.
nobody's stopping you from dressing up behind your table. But the
Yeah.
one in the fall, I see a lot of vendors get dressed up.
Yeah,
There
I
was some
mean,
Beetlejuices. I know you were
yep,
one. There was
yeah.
Beetlejuice. There was a whole bunch. We had some. What was They were characters from Resident Evil, I think. There was just a whole bunch of cool stuff going
Yep,
on.
and then there was the werewolf that did the Michael Jackson moves.
That guy, that guy's not allowed at the event anymore. But did you get a chance to talk to your buddy Stay Puffed last year?
Yes, of course. And he like was almost crying at the very end of it because like at the very end I saw him in the parking lot and he was leaving and so was
Yeah,
I. And he was like he held his hand to his heart and he was like, "You're one of the reasons I come back." And I was like, "That's all you had to say." Like so it was just
you're
he's
one of the
my
reasons,
favorite.
and me buying him a plane ticket's the other.
Yay! Yeah, he's just
Yay!
he's so so down to earth. You would never think that
Yeah.
he was in as many movies as he was in, and that he created things like the Men in Black worm suit and was inside
Right.
that worm suit. And also in Boba Fett, I want to say he created one of the things, one of the creatures or monsters in Boba Fett, and
Yeah.
like just the Stay Puffed, of course, but very talented. He likes to like get random pieces of fabric and stuff and just put it all together. My mom's dressing up as Rue the coming Halloween. I think she should be Beaker though, because that's very suiting. Um, and we went over this. We've gone over this. But what's really cool is I'm gonna have my book, Hades and Persephone. It's gonna come out in July, so it will be available at the Frightreads
For the fall
Festival
show.
in October. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's actually the setting is in a post-apocalyptic world. That's
Ooh.
where that setting is for the Hades and Persephone one. So I really well, I teach Greek mythology to my students as well, so I know a lot of the origins of the myths of Persephone, the goddess of flowers, and Hades. So when Hades captured Persephone because he loved how she looked, she was so beautiful, her mother was very upset, and her mother is Demeter, who is the goddess um of nature. And
Yeah.
so the Greek people in ancient Greece believed, well, that's why we have fall and winter, because when Demeter was so upset that her daughter Persephone was taken and kidnapped, you know, she was so upset that everything died. She no longer wanted to make anything grow. So and the reason why there's spring and summer, according to ancient Greeks, is that Persephone ate 6 pomegranate seeds when she was in the underworld. And so Hades struck a deal with Zeus and said, okay, for the 6 seeds that she ate, she's going to stay in the underworld. And then for the other 6 months of the year, she'll be back with her mom. So,
How about that?
yeah,
We're learning if you're watching. We're learning.
there you go, because
Um,
I'm a
yeah.
teacher.
But I love that you have that going on. So it's a post-apocalyptic world. Um, what apocalypse did it? I don't know.
Everything. So,
Was it just like the did we apocalypse it? Was it
yeah.
just like the wrath of the gods?
It
Why
was,
is the
yeah, it was a little bit of everything. It was mainly the humans not taking care of things, and so the wrath of the gods because they didn't take care of anything. And so, like there's several storms, tsunamis, etc., that wipe everything out, and it sends it into like a time where there's no more internet, there's not even any roads, there's just dirt paths because floods and things like that had just taken a lot of stuff out. And so yeah, so I thought that would be cool because tying in a goddess like Persephone who has a little
Mhm.
greenhouse and she doesn't know of her power's extent yet, so she doesn't really know she's a goddess actually. um and spoiler alert, sorry, but
Oh
my
no.
plan, I know, my plan is that Persephone was kidnapped by a woman, and so she's not with Demeter, she's not with her true mother, and she never met her true mother. So Hades is gonna in a way be like the morally gray guy because he's in a way gonna like rescue her. So I always like to paint villains in a positive light.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, and you're actually being more true to Hades because Hades wasn't a villain.
Yeah.
They all like drew straws and like, all right, you get farming, you get
Yes.
love, and you can go basically to hell. Good luck.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
Um,
because
he's not a bad guy. He just kind of got the raw deal and is just making the best of a bad situation.
yeah,
Um,
exactly. And I even have in his perspective, he's thinking about like, why does Zeus like the humans so much? They just destroy things, da da da.
yeah,
And then he's saying, well, I know why he likes them. It's because they give power to him, because they worship him. So
yeah, and it's. I mean, that's good. I like having him in a gray area. So you're definitely hitting the right points, at least for anybody that's like really into this stuff, because
yeah,
I love me some Greek mythology.
yeah,
So I was like, when you said you were doing the Medusa book, I was like, yes. And then you said you're doing a Hades and Persephone book. I was like, yes.
yeah.
There is another show. Um, It was where Jeff Goldblum, I think, was Zeus.
I watched it and I hated it.
Hated it. It was
Huh.
just like, what was it? The story of Ophelia,
It was,
Orpheus,
I couldn't get past
something
the
like that.
first episode.
It was fine. You have to get into it because it's literally just that, except it's just know that Jeff Goldblum is just going to be full Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. I am going to give the wrath of the gods. Where is my lightning bolt? Yes, chaos, chaos to the humans. Um, yeah, that once you get past that, the other half of the story is actually really good because it
Mhm.
is that story, the Orpheus story,
Mhm.
where you're, I mean, my God, that's Hades Town, I believe, is part of that. Um, it's that, I'm going to go into hell to bring the love of my life back. So if you give it a second go,
Yeah, I
I think it'll
will.
work because it's that first episode is just kind of like, what's this crap?
Yeah, exactly. That was my thought. I'm like turning this off. But I'll give it another go. I will.
Yeah. I guess Sean said he read first chapter, that you got the setting of the Hades book, and looking forward to more being revealed. Um, yeah, it's so much fun to just have this oversaturation of Greek mythology stuff. We have video games, we have cartoons, comic books like oh geez, was it called Lore? Is it
Oh
just,
yeah. Mhm.
yeah, I was gonna say I think it's just called Lore.
Mhm.
Where we're doing like alternate tellings of
Mhm.
these classic stories. Um, what a time to be alive, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
Especially if
it's
you like this
really
stuff.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, but you definitely got to give that show another go because yes,
Yeah, I
Jeff
will.
Goldblum is unhinged. He's just being Jeff Goldblum, and all of the kids, you have to. They modernized a lot of it. That was
Mhm.
that's the thing that it takes you out of it because you're like, well, why does he have a gold watch, dude? You're
Yeah.
supposed to be Zeus,
Mhm.
but then you realize that he coveted like human wares. He liked to have
Yeah.
fancy vases and all this. So yeah, of course he's going to have like a Rolex and a Lamborghini in the garage. And that checks. He's going to have this big, huge mansion. Uh,
Mhm.
it's the same thing, just up to date.
Yeah.
And then going to actual like when you go to the underworld, now it's run like an office, like, and that makes sense. Everybody's got a job. There's like a clerical level of work. It's like, oh
Yes.
no,
That
that would
is,
be hell. That would be hell
well,
today.
we are in the underworld then. This is
Yeah, I've always said that. I'm like, no, this is what hell is. This is, I
Yep.
don't know what I did. I know what I did.
Yep.
But but yeah, this is hell. Like,
I always stick to purgatory. I'm like, which layer of purgatory am I in right now of Dante, or a layer of hell even of Dante's Inferno and Purgatorio. So,
yeah, I'll say I actually have that. I think I was gonna say, is it up on my bookshelf here? I have it back there in the other bookshelf. One of my favorite. Again, getting into the mythologies and retellings. They did a video game like 15 years ago. It's very hack and slashy, but you go through all the layers of hell and you fight. I think all the mythology stuff, all the things that
yeah.
would be in those inner circles.
And that one is
Eventually,
called Hades, right?
no, this one was just called Dante's Inferno. And
Oh,
it takes
okay.
some liberties from Dante's original story, but
Mhm.
it pretty much follows it.
Mhm.
You go through all 9 circles of hell. You deal with a lot of the same people. They had Mark Hamill got to play one of the characters in the greed area.
Wow.
Um, so it was kind of cool. So I absolutely love that stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to more. Sean said that game's a throwback. You're welcome for that. Now you need to play it because it's still playable on Xbox and PlayStation. Um, but yeah, I'm glad that so many people are excited for more upcoming mythology retellings. So after you get through Hades, who's next on the list? Are we going for a deep
After
cut?
after Hades and Persephone, I was really, my mom wants to do a Rue Christmas book, so I'm toying with that idea.
Do it.
But in terms of like the Greek mythology stuff, I really don't know. because there's so much to
Yeah.
choose from, and I think I like to choose something that speaks to me the most, and like I think Hades and Persephone, that relationship spoke to me a lot. The other one that could be a really good horror book, though, is Arachne the Weaver, who
Okay.
is where arachnid comes from. So
Yeah.
she was a weaver that, and we actually tell this story to the kids, and it's frightening. She was a weaver that said, "Oh, I'm the best at weaving," da da da, and then I think it was Athena that came in because she's the wisest. She came in and she was like, "You're not the best, like I am." But Athena was disguised as like an old woman or something. And so she said, "Tell you what, let's go against each other. And if you lose, you become an arachnid, or something like that." And so
Yeah.
or no, I don't know if she lost, but anyway, Athena turns her into an arachnid for the rest of her days, because she's like, "You want to be the best? Well, here you go. You can do it 24/7 then. How's that? How's them apples?" um, but yeah, so and my rendition would be different, as I would say, "How's them apples?"
So they're all from Jersey,
Yeah, exactly.
and you get Ben Affleck and Matt Damon.
Yeah.
How do you like them apples?
Yes, exactly. Yep, yep.
And they all go to Dunkin' Donuts and
Yes. Yep.
wow. All right. Well, the setting's New Jersey. You heard it here, folks. Played by Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. And then any other Jersey characters you want to add in. Um, but that sounds fantastic. I know it's so hard to like speculate for the future, and something speaks to you. Um, I'm always surprised when I go, "Ooh, idea," and I actually have something that I can run with.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, that's great. So you have some more rule in the way. I think having a holiday book is an absolutely great idea, whether it's a horror book or a romance horror or a cozy mystery,
Mhm.
or a Rue book in this case.
Mhm.
Um, it's something good to have for the holidays,
Yeah,
because we
absolutely.
do all the really good events that people are trying to buy stocking stuffers and last minute gifts. And what makes a better last minute gift than a book?
Yes, and honestly, the thing that I learned with the Haunted Inn, with Rue's Haunted Inn, was that I wanted to come out with that book and release it on Halloween just because I thought it would look cool, released on Halloween. But that
Yeah,
was a terrible idea because by the time Halloween hits,
because
they
we're
already
already in
have
Christmas.
Christmas. Yeah, they already have Christmas
Yep.
stuff out. So now I know that from trial and error. And if I do a Christmas Rue book, then it would have to come out for
November.
September,
I
honestly.
would say maybe even the 1st of November at the latest.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that would be the latest. Yeah. So
Yeah.
September, October, that's when the book should come out. It should come out when Target puts their Christmas stuff up. So I'll
Oh,
just
so
base
in
it off that.
June.
Yeah, so June, okay. Yeah, that's true. Yep.
Oh, that's ridiculous. Well,
Mhm.
thank you so much for taking some time and talking about some great books and some great backstories. I hope everybody comes and buys all of your books at Halfway to Halloween at Marley Station Mall this May the 9th, the day before Mother's Day. Buy all of your mothers, every single one of Marissa's books. Everybody come out, bring mom, and buy like 8 copies of these books. Your mom just needs 8 copies of one single title. I don't care. Um, so tickets are online, frightreads.com. You can get tickets for Halfway to Halloween, or if you don't feel like joining us or can't join us, you can bump on over to Fright Reads Book Festival at the Howard County Fairgrounds, October 24th and 25th. And we are going to have too many authors, too many books, too many special guests, so much stuff. You're going to have a blast. If it's your first time, it won't be your last. If it's your, what are we on, 6 now? If it's your 6th time visiting, it only gets better from here. It's only if you've been. I've had people that have been there since year one, and they have just seen just the whole evolution of Fright Read. So it only gets better, and I'm hoping this year's even better than last year. That's always the plan. But if you guys are looking for Marissa's stuff, go to mistywrites.com, which is going to be back here again for just a half a second. Um, Grab your books there. Otherwise, the usual haunts, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, et cetera, or find her on the website and see where the next event you can find Marissa at. Marissa, thank you very much for joining us, and thanks to what I assume most of this was like 2/3 of your family. was chatting in the stream. Thank you everybody for joining. And I think I have somebody scheduled for next week. So I'll see you guys next Wednesday at 8. Thank you for watching.